Hey, it's Rick. Welcome to another video, and this one's going to be for January 28th to February 4th development sprint. Some of the stuff that we got done, some of the actual things we got completed, some of the code that got written, some of the features, and all that fun stuff I want to go ahead and talk about in this video. So let's get into it. All right, so I have a entire list here of references and things that actually got completed and all of that. And my idea for this one is just to share with you some of the, how would you say this, some of the frustration that I got with using Amazon Cognito, and some of the things, some of the positives and some of the negatives, and some of the lessons learned using that tool. So when I first ran into it, I thought, let's go take a look at it. Amazon Cognito. Thought it was going to be perfect for the stuff that I was doing, just simply handing off all the authentication to them and just allowing them to be able to take care of all that for us, so we wouldn't have to go in there and do this thing over and over and over again for iOS, Swift, the web app, the Android app, all those stuff, right? You just hand that off to another service provider like Amazon, and it'll take care of all that for you. Now, there's a tons of gotchas using this. So first of all, they don't have a server-side support, specifically with Node.js. They do have some with PHP and Java and I think Ruby, but not with Node. So that was a little bit frustrating, and I had to kind of write some wrappers around the existing SDK they do have for client-side JavaScript, which they do have here, which I believe it's see right here, Amazon Cognito Identity.js. And if you want to use it, definitely go check out the GitHub and read over some of the stuff here, and make sure you go over to the issues as well. So 79 open issues, just to give you an idea there. And here it goes through the entire setup and process and how to actually get this done. And once I actually got this set up, there's a ton of gotchas. And first of all, the first gotcha that got me is that there is if you're not using some sort of local storage on the server side, or if you have no way of mocking that storage, it's very difficult to get the whole entire password mechanism to work, because Amazon Cognito Identity uses the HTML5 storage. It stores its tokens, it stores its values in there. And on the server side, if you don't have that set up, then you're going to run into problems. And one of the first problems that we ran into was sessions. So now, right now, all the sessions are being stored via cookie. So we're storing all the sessions on DynamoDB, but the latency of requests for every single session that happens was just way too much. And we were getting through our 5 maximum requests. Here we go. So RCUs and WCUs. So these are you write and then you read provisions that you set up, and depending on how much you set up, we have 5 for write and 5 for read, and we were just maxing those out every single time because it would make so many requests per second. So we had to have an intermediate between DynamoDB, Passport, and our actual caching. So I thought about integrating some sort of cache in the middle to be able to cache some of these things, and then this is why I linked off to do 2 different parts, but mostly this elastic cache that Amazon provides for you. Now there's an entire blog post here that goes ahead and talks about exactly how to set that up, but I'm not going to go too much into it. But it's essentially setting up this cache before it hits the database to be able to save on those read and writes, and just having that intermediate step there before that actually kicks off. The way we're kind of mitigating that for now is just all sessions are being stored on server side, and we're just using MongoDB to store the sessions, but that's the only thing that we're using that database for. All the other requests are happening on DynamoDB, and hopefully in the future we'll be able just to migrate that off to DynamoDB with some sort of elastic cache, or elastic cache, for us to be able to just hit those requests to that elastic cache and be able to scale up that way. So we can just store the sessions, just store everything over there. And the reason why we need sessions is for us to be able to store local values for Amazon Cognito. So it's kind of a whole entire hybrid process that we went ahead and put together. So we have DynamoDB for more of a hard, soft sort of storage, and We have our Elastic Cache, which I haven't set up yet. We need to set that up, which is going to be for our hot storage. So this is stuff we're going to be constantly reading and writing from. Then we have Amazon Cognito, which does all of our user management, passwords, reset passwords, verifications, all that fun stuff happens with Amazon Cognito, and that way we hand that off to them. And that pretty much goes ahead and does it that way. We got all this working on the server side. Our app has it now. We have login, log out, sessions, update profile. What else? Forgot password, register, verify password, verify email. All that stuff is pretty much taken care of now. And now we can actually get to the fun part, which is actually working on the next part, which is going to be the Amazon containers that we're going to be wrapping up to be able to launch some of these new virtual things over and over and over again. So that's kind of where we're at right there with that. This one, the user accounts, actually worked on it on the previous sprint, but I didn't write it down because it wasn't officially done. It was halfway done. So I'm pretty happy that we got that done now, and it's just pretty much all taken care of for now. I mean, there's still a bunch of stuff we want to implement, like different auth mechanisms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatnot, and also for the authentication side, there's still some more stuff to do, like role management. If we're gonna have a trial, if we're not gonna have a trial, early adopters role. Some of these things that have not written into it yet, but that's something we have to think about coming up pretty soon here. And lastly, I don't want to make this thing too long, so the last one is school details. So you're able to update the school name, update the root domain name, and then update the domain name in the right format. So we do a little bit of regular expressions in the back end to make sure we get that domain set up correctly. And those are pretty much about it. Those are the two ones that got completed. And right now we're working on, like I said before, working with our containers, specifically using Amazon to be able to create containers and be able to launch some of these virtual schools using those containers. And hopefully that way we can start scaling and monitoring some of the stuff that actually is happening on the cloud with the containers using Docker, and be able to monitor those and see who's using the service, who's using more than they need to, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be working on that next week and seeing how we can actually get some of that accomplished for MVP. We have an official quote-unquote beta release for February 26th, so that's just 3 weeks from now. So 3 weeks, 2 weeks, it's getting close. So we have to wrap that up and get our beta released here pretty soon. So in less than 20 days, which is 2 weeks, so we have about 2 weeks to figure it out, the MVP, and get that out and start launching some of these schools. So we have 2 people that have shown interest that they want to go ahead and launch their product using the service. And this entire rest of the month, we're going to be working on acquiring more people that are interested. And right now we are in the process of reaching out to some of my audience members from my other channels to be able to see if some of them are interested and be able to bring them on board and help them get started as well. So that's kind of where we're at right now. This is January 28th to February 4th. See if I have any other notes. I don't think so. So that's going to pretty much do it for me.